had happened was a crank or a kook. Those were two of his favorite words.
He sat in a very privileged position. He was senior avionics editor for Aviation Week and Space Technology, based in Washington, D.C. So the go-to guy for any media people who needed anything.
Klass was a man who was extremely well connected. You know, years before the Travis Walton case, Klass worked very hard to destroy the reputation of one of America's leading atmospheric physicists, a man named James McDonald, who was a fearless, brilliant, tireless UFO investigator researcher.
To kill the character of people if you couldn't attack their findings was something that Philip became very good at. I think Philip contributed directly to the suicide of Dr. James McDonald, one of the finest and most courageous scientists in the history of trying to get UFOs into the public mindset.
Klass also did the same thing with Stanton Friedman. I discovered a letter in the archives, in the Canadian National Archives, when Friedman moved to Canada back in 1979. Klass wrote a scandalously scathing, libelous letter to the Canadian National Research Council trying to destroy Friedman's reputation there.
He carried on what I would call a personal vendetta against Travis. He hadn't talked to any of the witnesses during that, or naturally not. That wasn't his style.
There were some rather underhanded tactics being employed, altering quotations to reverse the meaning of things that people said, and even misquote to make it seem that they were saying something they didn't.
Philip Klass did contact me, and I took him out to the scene. We spent a day out there. He brought a Geiger counter out with him, and we went to the scene and he checked it out.
I received a phone call from Philip Klass, and he told me who he was and what he was looking for and information, and he started asking me questions. I had some input with regard to Mr. Klass beforehand, so I asked him if he would just put all the questions and stuff in writing and send it to me. I'd be happy to answer his questions, but I never did receive any letters from him.
Philip Klass was extremely thorough in digging. I mean, he called former employers, everything, but he connected with anything. And here, I am the main person involved. Never attempted to even phone me. Never attempted to write a letter or anything.
So there is no concern with truth or with people's reputations or anything like that. That's the way he was, and I say that I met with him. We've even had some meals together where we agreed not to talk about UFOs, frankly, but